Chaos is going on. They started following me, so I started giving statements. Okay? I'm alone in my car. Okay? Police department's knowing da 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 da. Okay? So I pull over and I go to go in Mentor's clothing. Now, I'm supposed to be in protected line custody, just like the Stark County Sheriff said. Are you interested in working here around the house? What's that? One of us have to watch or listen to her every day. Okay? And then so you'll understand the statement. So I pull in and I said, you know the old saying, if you have nothing nice to say, don't say anything at all. I get out of my vehicle off in the distance. Some guy said, Karen's Will that listens to her at night thinks it's funny. And it's coming out who's actually doing this to her. Okay? And she's right. If you don't have anything nice to say, you shouldn't say anything at all. Okay? Now, on the way down there, and I said, I was talking about the mob lords, the drug dealers, the drug lords that are in it with Judge Pete. Okay? Because people have talked about a mob lord. I'm like, why would a mob lord be involved in all this craziness? But a drug lord, New York accent. That's why it went so big. Financing. Because I told you they were flashing lights above my house, scrambling phone numbers in the back area. They were drug dealing in the middle of nowhere, and it's a perfect place. You're 15 miles from two small towns. Okay? Streetsboro's 15 miles one way, Kent's another 15 miles, 25 to Warren, and another 20 down to Canton. In the middle of nowhere. Farmlands, giant woods, lakes, nothing. Access to Route 5, Route 14, 76, and not too far from 77. Perfect place. They drugged the hell out of me. Where'd they get it from? The drug dealers. Okay? I said, you'll see I seen their fancy cars out after that. Driving by, they're $150,000, $200,000 cars. They're vats. Out driving around Belden. The ones that followed me. Retired Judge Pete has no authority. He's retired. It's like a retired cop can't give you a speeding ticket. They can't. Has no authority. Told you his bitchy dragon-head wife showed up at Walmart. We had it set up so no one had help her. And it's something. It actually worked. They'd actually rather go after her than do the right thing and help her. It's something. Breaking. I get home that night, the apartment building for me, third one close to the fence, is out there. Now they saw the log into the car. Okay? That's how they found him admitting to the shower scene in the other room, where she figured out what they did. When it's like the one time I touched myself like a showering walk off, I had them laughing at me. Car picked him up, everybody heard him. They're out there and they're like, we want nothing to do with it. We found out it's just that family doing this to her. And the guy with the New York accent showed up in 19. Said, and he's out there, he said, well, after everything they did to her, we can let nature take its course and just let her die. Cold-blooded murderers. See, I can get medical treatment, I'll be fine. They're mixed up with big drug dealers from New York. I know New York's accent. I used to live there. Well, when I went in to mentor, some lady walked in and was talking to somebody, said, well, if it really is just drug lords doing that to her, they don't care about any of this. We shouldn't care about anything besides helping me anyways. I've never been questioned with Miranda rights or wrongdoing. I've never been prosecuted. I've never been found guilty. They made up the case to watch me. Made it up. Said it June of 19 at Liberty House. Police cannot just break in your home and make up a case to watch you. They go to jail 1 to 4 years, lose their badge, and the prosecutor's office could never use it. They can't work a case with a conflict of interest for friends and family. It's 1 to 10. Then every civil right breaks 1 to 10, and then you can slap stalking charges, attempted extortion, framing drugs. They got 100 years in federal prison, putting their name on it. And the prosecutor's office can't even look at it. They look at it, I can report them to the Department of Justice, and they'll arrest them. FBI knows they can't look at it. Because like Officer Reinhardt said, you giggle like a little girl, it comes down to no matter what. Until Will took your statement. They couldn't even be in your home. It's illegal to be in somebody's home, and it's illegal to look and listen. Okay? So, yeah. It is retired Judge B corrupted some of the cops up there to help out. And it was some drug lords. And that's it. They're all killers and drug dealers. And these people need to stop telling the drug dealers will take your dirty, filthy money or acid-flavored lollipop for helping kill people. Oh, they admitted to framing March 24, 22, 1:30. They also admitted it was a shower scene, and then again, I went through it like at May 12:22. They pulled the car tapes at noon. Bubba's restaurant. There was a big old camera outside. 6-8 men screaming at the police driving by about and finding a tape of the boys admitting a shower scene in the other room. May 26, 22. The guy at KFC saying the attorney did it on purpose. For the shower scene in the other room, I told you about December 9, 21 at the Oakland apartment. Maintenance man at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, December 9, 21, that all the tapes before were them and not me, and it's just a bunch of men doing crimes down here. December 9, 21, Stark County Hunger Task Force, 9th Street, white man bald, dark eyes, actually worked the case. Said we always knew the tapes before were them, not her, so we never said a word. I can start rambling through May 25th, 21. Wendy's crew, Louisville, was talking about the church people breaking in before, drugging me and telling me to say weirdo stuff. My old client heard it and told my neighbors, Jim and Brian, he heard it and it was too dark for him. 1295 Allen, middle apartment, screamed at him for doing it. Apartment building for me, second close to the fence, laughed at me. 8, 9, 21, first thing in the morning, the car heard him. Everybody heard him. At Dave, where he defends me later. During the case, just to cover, he knew I wouldn't do anything wrong. And I never hurt anybody, and he agrees to that. I guess he roofied me because I was getting sick on his drink. I thought he was poisoning me. And they were all outside laughing at me while the cops showed up. A few days later, and they told him I was drugged and told to say it before. I told you about February 2nd, 22, noon at Burlington Coat Factory. Guy that looks like the guy that went to Paymer. Said that he personally drugged me and told me to say something. People ran in to Save-A-Lot. Oh my goodness. My one client lives on 6th Street, the brown house across the street. The African-American man ran out and yelled it to the postman. Postman's like we all heard it. January 19, 22, 11 o'clock in the morning on Whipple, they told the Department of Disability I was drugged and told to say it before. They're like, someone needs to help her. I told you March 24, 22, 1:30, you framed her before? Yeah, we framed her before. What do you... Shame on you. I know, I wish we wouldn't have done it. Those people even raped her. Okay, I told you about June 7th, 22, out on Turquoise Street, the big split level across the way from my other client. We had been making fun of me for the tapes before. When the lady investigators are like, don't say anything to her. We already know the tapes before were them, not her, and we're looking for who's doing it to her. So what are you going to say to me? Some dirty cops broke in my door the first week because Dave met Michelle after he broke my tooth with a board and got mad at me for smarting off to him, went off to a store and met serial killers. And the dirty cop friends broke in my door and started stalking me. You arrested them, right? They photoshopped a shower scene. I heard about it. More than 10 people have told me about it. I find it disgusting. So, and where I had giant bruises and hand marks and a cut on my leg, they said they were abusing me under amnesia drugs. Their so-called sodium pentothal reports are ecstasy date rape drugs. And you arrested them, right? And yeah, because otherwise it's going to be Barney Fife, give me the bullet out of your pocket. Police and agencies can only be in a home under a threat of life. Failure to notify for initiating and speaking to the other person in the home is abuse and misconduct. Failure to protect is abuse and misconduct. Goes into the right of privacy, illegal search and seizure. The cop loses his badge, and it's 1 to 4 years, and the prosecutor's office could never use it. Anything working for friends and family is 1 to 10 years. Any civil right broke is 1 to 10. And then you can add a lot more charges, and it's still not admissible. I got more if I'd sat down and go through more notes of people telling on these idiots. My one client out towards Navarre, they told her in March that everything was photoshopped and it was Judge Pete that did it, and she tells everyone. Now, see, the unique thing is I did talk to an FBI agent, and September 27th, 18, he did list me an informant. He did open up a protected life case, and that's the only time they can be there, and did have a cop talk to Dave. The cop made a statement at Walmart, and he was the one at Liberty House Share. June of 19, the worst thing you ever did wrong, honey, is bend over and properly. We can wipe that one out because it only made from the back of my knees. Made a mistake in front of the North Canton Jackson Police June of 19 on the phone with someone that they had made up a case to watch me before. Did something funny to me because she liked him. Okay? He was also in the back of CSE Bank. Canton police have been looking into this because they lied to them for the reason they were there. They told everybody I was an informant and they were my security, and they were the ones doing it to me. So I seen that one Canton cop when I was out with another client and followed us to Huntington Bank in January or February and pulled into the drive-thru. Get a hold of the Oakland apartment. You get a hold of the guy at the Hunger Task Force. Those officers actually did this to her. Well, I heard they didn't give her Miranda rights. It's like, I can beat that. They broke in and stabbed me with needles and lied. They had sodium pentothal reports they peeled out. They're the ones that are already telling everyone not to say anything to me. They know all those tapes before with them, not me. And Maslin works the state case because they watched Dixie on Federal Avenue, my daughter-in-law, because my ex put a threat on her life, and then they tamper with the vehicles. And they told Canton last month, people were driving by, and they're driving by, and people were screaming stuff. And so I mentioned Karen around the house state case. Maslin works in West Dixie on Federal Avenue. I went outside and everybody's gone, and one of the neighbors yelled out, the police said she was found innocent a long time ago and to leave her alone. 18. They found all the kids lying. Everybody where Dave complains that I had men around me. Act like they wanted me. They didn't want me. They were security guards and cops. Okay? Grabbing people, stalkers, chasing them off. Okay? Well, did everybody think they ran into a lot of traffic? And everybody had to go on a gang shopping trip? They caught Melissa telling the kids to lie, and on Thanksgiving of 18 for the house wasn't meant for Grandma, it was meant for Auntie Shell and Papa. And Grandma needs to get out, and for we're making everything up later to Flora. And that's where Flora laughed about it, well, about 11 months later. For, of course, it never happened. For, of course, it wasn't true. We made it up. It was a game of pretend. It's documented me games of pretend. The bitch wouldn't quit lying. They come up to me, Melissa's so stupid, she made everything up when you were fishing with Dave. She's actually that stupid. She didn't check where you were. I'm like, great. Her first lie is you bent over improperly. They said they seen your butt and you were in this one nightgown. I had Dave verify that I did own it, and I always wore a grandma nightgown, underwear, and a house coat or leggings, sweater, and a house coat when the grandkids were over. Second lie, now I have witnesses on my phone on the 4th. I'm outside with everybody else. They're in the basement having pillow fights, and when my daughter-in-law and I go inside, they live through the basement door. Didn't say goodbye. They lied that they came upstairs and looking through a cracked bathroom door, and you're supposed to be weird with yourself. Ew. Yeah, and they never even came upstairs, and I'm outside without everybody else. The third lie, they'll make up something and call you a bad word. That's all they tell me. They told people I broke in a home, tied my arms and legs to a chair, knocked it over, kicked it over, and jumped out a window. They told people I vandalized their church. They told people that I shot up a home and killed someone. That was Dave. She was considered fucking shit my family should be ashamed of, and mean jokes. In a shit pot. Don't stir the shit pot. February 7th, Becky, the laundromat lady in Louisville, I took her up to Giant Eagle, and there's people talking about my grandkids around. They have never called them nice names. Here I'm laying my life down to save everyone. They're lying for the girlfriend. So, they're in there, those fucking lying, dirty little bastards. Okay? Then we go out to the car, and some guy's trying to blame Will for this, but they can't FBI. Said, Will do this to her. I said, look, Will did a little with the case and left it on his desk. I asked Becky a month ago, I said, did you hear all that? She's like, yeah, I heard it. So did everybody else. It is retired Judge Pete. His bitchy wife showed up. Her and her dragon had friends. Something we had it set up so no one to help her. It's actually funny, it's working. They'd rather go after her than do the right thing and help her. The right thing and help her. It's funny. It actually worked. They have no authority. He's retired. Those dirty cops were helping break the law. In it with drug lords from out of state New York. I know that New York accent. I grew up in New York. Drug lords. Oh, the fancy vehicle showed up. That's the drive around me. Yeah. I used to think they were Asians. They're drug lords. This drug lord's doing it to me with a dirty retired judge and some corrupt officers. They're stupid enough to say they were even in my house. The FBI will look at them and say, where's the special protected light case? Where's her and Dave's Miranda rights? I want them recorded or you're in jail and I can't look at this. 'Cause that's the law. People have talked about a mob lord around me. It's not a mob lord, it's your drug lords that they're drug dealing out of state with. And Judge Pete and his bitchy wife and his bitchy little prostitute all need to get locked up. And with the dirty cops, I think it's funny. Can a Starr County sheriff break in your house and watch you? No, it's stalking. Illegal search and seizure. You have a right to privacy, a right to remain quiet, a right to legal representation, a right to a fair court trial, bail and bond. Can they do it because there's a retired judge's daughter involved, friends and family? No, the whole county has to stay out of everything. Can they break in and date rape drug you and tell you to say something stupid? Hell no. Can they? Can they Photoshop a shower scene and be stupid enough to tell people they did it? And frame you? And then rat everybody out? Like the retired sheriff said. It seems like you got extra stupid criminals around you. See, I found innocent of everything in 18. They just found out they were basically falling around. They found everybody lying for the judge's daughter. Like the guy said, we were never interested in you. The guys that watch me, or family, ought to be ashamed of themselves. They should. Almost died to save them. I lived through a concentration camp, trying to let them go after me. To save my children and grandchildren. They should be ashamed. And I'll tell you what, it's making the Stark County Sheriffs look really bad, aiding and abetting crimes and looking the other way. Well, a retired judge with no authority, and they know dirty cops have broken into somebody's home and were stalking them. And they didn't have a special protective light case. And Miranda rights documented with video. Uh-huh. Then I guess they would get arrested for breaking and entering and stalking, huh? Legal search and seizure. Yeah, and they couldn't look or listen like Reinhardt said. It'd be illegal to. Comes down to no matter what. Till Will took your statement, agreed to protect you, nobody could be in your home. It's illegal to look, and it's illegal to listen. It is. Here, I'm outside. Someone needs to get me out of here. It's just drug courts with dirty cops and a dirty retired judge that are laughing at the cops for not doing their damn jobs.